when Roddy was 14, I'm not sure what year that was, but that was in the year when, that was one of the years when we already lived in Santa Marta, and we lived in that down first floor apartment, and I needed to go over to Valle du Par because I was selling Sarachui, and so we had been out of the mountains for a couple of years, and I made arrangements with Saul to meet us at a certain crossroad street in Valle du Par on a certain day, and I needed to go over with documents to give to the Forestry Service and the Indian Agency, and I forget what the other agency was that was buying the farm. And so to get over to Valle du Par and get back, it was during the red zone time, and Valle du Par was in the red zone.
What's that?
And that means that a lot of the road was occupied by guerrillas. And we were not supposed to travel on the road, we being Sam missionaries, because it just wasn't safe. But like I say, I made arrangements to go over with these documents, and I had to, trying to sell the farm, and I decided I would just go this particular day. So I was going to come down out of the mountains, and I had a meeting. So you leave at 4:30 in the morning to make the trip, and I said that Roddy was going to go along with me, and Mama says she didn't want Roddy to go, and Roddy was reading books and sitting around and reading books, and there wasn't a whole lot of things to do, and so I said I was taking him along. I wanted him to see what life was really about, and we were probably going to experience danger, going through a dangerous area and everything. And so she said that she didn't want to lose both her men at the same time, and so we had a little bit of a disagreement there. But we prayed and we took off, and we left, like I say, in the dark, and we're driving and got to Bosconia and El Copay. Got to El Copay, and I stopped to get gas. Actually, you can go all the way to Valle du Par and part way back without getting gas, but I stopped to get gas there, and I told Roddy, you know what, we're not going to stop when we get to Valle du Par. So if I get gas here, I can go all the way into Valle du Par and back to here, and from here on, it's red zone. And so we stopped and got gas. Left there about 2-3 miles up the road, that's all. There's a toll booth. And when we came to this toll booth, there were bricks all over the road, and the toll booth had been blown to smithereens. And so we slowed down and almost came to a stop because you had to find your way through these bricks and everything. And I said, man, the guerrillas must have blown this place up last night or something. And we kept going. It's a slight incline, and then there's a hill going down, a long slope going down. And as we're going down the hill, I could see off in the distance that there were trucks and cars parked on the right side of the road. And then I saw, as we got closer, I could see men in uniform. And so I thought, uh-oh, so they had problem with the guerrillas last night. They're the guys that blew this place up, and so the Army's they're out here. And as we got closer, the guy in uniform, he had his back to me, and he's going like this, waving us forward and telling me to park over there along the curb behind a big truck. And so I pulled over, and as I got closer to him, I saw that he had a bandana over his face, and he had an armband on here. And as he turned around this way, I could see ELN, and the bandana was half red and half black, and in white letters, ELN right across there. And it just went through me, oh no, we're in.
What's ELN?
ELN is the Liberation Army, the National Liberation Army. And they were guerrillas, subversives, bad people. And so now I saw that there was like 6 of them. They were spread out a little bit along the side of the road, just standing over there with rifles and like that. And so I parked, and this guy came over, and he had me roll down the window. Of course, the windows were down. And he looked in, and he says, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm an evangelical pastor." He says, "Get out of the car and stand over here by your front fender." So Roddy got out and he walked around, and I got and stood there. He said, "Let me see some identification." And so I gave him my driver's license. I didn't give him my cedula, which said on there that I was a North American. And but he obviously knew that. But because he said to a couple of other guerrillas, "Hey, come over here. We got a couple of gringos over here." And so these guys walked over, and they're coming toward us, and just that quick, a Jeep came in, and this Jeep was one of these little Suzukis, and he saw what was happening, the driver of the Jeep, and he made a U-turn right before he got to us. And when he made the U-turn, then we heard a Raffiga, like that, and they shot him and killed him. And so he's half turned around in his U-turn, and he dies over his steering wheel, and he's sitting there. And then he says, "You two guys get back in the car." And so I got back in the car, Roddy got back in the car, and then he says, "Give me the keys so you don't do anything stupid." So I gave him the keys out the window, and he took them. And he wanted to go over and see what they had just done. And here comes a bus. There's a bus coming. And so they're signaling the bus to pull in behind us. And there's a woman coming, a woman guerrilla, coming toward us in the road with a spray thing. And she's spraying ELN on all the vehicles with white paint. And they have these big canvas-covered trucks, and they're covered in black canvas, and she's spraying ELN on them. All the buses, all the vehicles, everything gets that paint on it. And so the guy that had my keys, he's sort of like in charge. The others now are walking over to the little Jeep over there, and they're attending to the bus that's pulling in behind us. So they had a lot going on all of a sudden. And he says to the woman who was spraying, "Come over here and take care of these two guys, guard them." And so she came over, and she bent down and she looked in the window, and she said to Roddy, "Is this your dad?" She wouldn't talk to me, and Roddy said yes. And then she said, "Is this your dad's car?" And Roddy said yes. And then so she says, she takes out her pistol and she holds it up like this, and she says, "Get out of the car and stand in front of it." So actually I'm getting ahead of myself. The bus people are unloading. They're getting everybody out of the bus. And they're all getting out of the bus, and a man came up to Roddy's window and hands in a briefcase. He said, "Hide this for me." And I said, "I'm sorry, sir, I can't do that. And if they find out who I am and what I have in that briefcase, I'm a dead man." And I said, "I'm afraid we're already in trouble. I might be a dead man too." And they have us back here in our car. And so I said, "Look, I've been praying here with my son, and we had been. We'd been praying and praying out loud, Roddy and I, or I was praying, and I said, I'll pray for you too, that God will take care of you and protect you. And the man started to cry, and he pulled his thing out. He was a man maybe 70. And he pulled his briefcase back out, and he went up the shoulder. And I didn't know where people were going. I didn't know what was going on. And and I said, Roddy, if I'm going to try and get you out of here. And right there was a soybean field right next to us. And I said, if I can get you out somehow and get you out into that soybean field, because I think they might take me prisoner. I know I'm on a list. And so I want you to get out of here and get back and tell Mama that I'll be all right. And that, you know, I just don't want anything to happen to you. And so, because I'm pretty sure that these men will take me prisoner. So, anyway, now this woman says, get out and stand in front of the car, which we did. And then she says, she's looking back this way. She's looking back this way to these guys that are back there. And the bus people had all gone by now. And then she said, follow those people in the bus. Go, 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 quickly. Go right where they go. And so we went down the shoulder and followed those people that had gotten out of the bus. And they were going down the road about 200 yards, and about maybe more than that. It had to be more than that. There was a driveway like going in on the left side of the highway, and there was a big corral. And standing on the fence of the corral, actually the gate of the corral, was this guy with a beard and a uniform, and he was like the honcho gorilla. And gorillas were standing around there, and he was giving a speech. And everybody was like crowded together in front of him. And so I said to Roddy, let's get right in the very center of that group and bend your knees, because we're like a little bit taller than a lot of people. And so we got right in the middle of that group there, and we listened to this guy. And he's saying how that the gringos are raping Colombia, and they're stealing Columbia mountains and all the wealth out of Colombia, just like they did Panama. They stole the canal, and he's going on and on and on how bad the gringos are. And everybody's listening to this guy, you know, and a plane came along, a small plane, and it was an Army green, and you could see that it was a reconnaissance plane, and it was spotting what was going on. And so he looks up at that thing and he says, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. And as you go back to your vehicles, you're free to go. Please take the literature that we'll be handing you as you leave. And so everybody starts clapping. And of course I'm clapping too. And Roddy says, Dad, why are you clapping? So anyway, we go back out this little alleyway out to the road, and the gorillas are coming in. They're coming in trotting, and we're passing them. And I said, Roddy, don't look at any of them. Just don't even look at their faces. And we got out to the road, went back to the car, and everybody's hurrying to their vehicles, and they're starting up their engines, and they're taking off. The people are all getting back on the bus. The trucks are pulling out. Next thing you know, there's only 2 vehicles sitting there. The little Suzuki Jeep over there, and us. And I didn't have any keys. He never gave me back the keys. So I said, Roddy, I don't know if these guys are coming back or not. I don't know what's going to happen, but crawl over in the back and get me my toolbox. Get me my. I have a big screwdriver back there and a channel locks pliers, and I busted the switch right off that steering column, stuck the screwdriver in there, and was able to get it. Just pull the lever. Pull the lever, and it started. And so we took off. And Roddy says, "Are we still going to Valledupar?" And I says, "Yeah, I think so. I don't think it's going to happen again today. I want to go down here to Bosconia," which was just a couple miles up the road, and get a Tinto and just think through try and process everything that happened. We only went about a mile, and here come the soldiers trotting down the highway. They didn't have a vehicle. They're coming on foot to chase the guerrillas away. And we got to Bosconia. I stopped and got a cup of coffee, and Roddy had coffee too, I guess. He had coffee, maybe he had a Pepsi. And we went into Valledupar. And as we're going into Valledupar, I had a little hand recorder. And I said, let's record everything we saw. Everything we saw. Every detail. And so we're recording it. And then Roddy says, "Dad, are you glad that that happened?" Glad what happened? That the guerrillas stopped us and you know, we had that experience. And I said, "Roddy, I was never more scared in my life. I never experienced fear because I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what was going to happen to you. I didn't know what was going to happen. And you know, we prayed and asked God, and He's got us free and everything. But and then he says, "I'm glad it happened." And I said, "You are?" He says, "Yeah, I never saw a gorilla," and I actually talked with him, and you know, I'm glad that it happened, and I'm glad that I was with you when it happened, but I'm glad it happened. So we get into Valledupar, and there was Saul right where we were supposed to meet him on that corner, and he got in the car, and we took off and went around the block. About 2 blocks away, we went in and got a soda and left him right there. Gave him the documents that we needed to give him that he was going to present for us. And then I went back and I pulled into a gas station. And Deesh says, "Why are you going into a gas station? I thought we were going to get gas back in El Copay." And I said, "I don't have a key. I had a lock on the gas cap. And so what am I going to do? I don't know what." But I figured these guys here, they might tell me what we can do. So I pulled up to the pump and I said to the guy, "What do you do when some idiot loses his key to his gas cap? How do you get a gas cap off there?" The guy says, "You lost your key?" And I said, "Yeah." "When?" I said, "I lost it this morning." And he said, "Just wait a minute. I just found one this morning." He walked over across the corner to the other set of pumps, and he came back with a little itty-bitty key, just a little thing. And he put it in there, and it opened it right up. So as long as we had the car, that was the key to the gas cap. And so we were able to fill up right there and made it all the way back home. he couldn't wait to tell Mama all about it when we got home, his experience. But anyway, that's not the complete end of the story. That woman, gorilla, she had the same uniform on, the same bandana, the same everything. But it was obvious that she was an Indian, an Ottawa Indian. And we found out later on that she was a Christian and that she knew who we were. She knew who I was. And she was a Christian there in El Jordan. And so that's, God placed her there to get us out of that bind.